Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. On today's episode, we're going to talk about a 1-2, another loss to a team in USL League One. That is all the best. But to help me through all that stuff, it's the one, the only, Mr. Matt Myers. How are you doing, sir?
Doing okay. Got a little bit of taste of hope. It's a delicious taste, and also uh, it's a very teasing taste.
Very, very teasing. Hopefully we can inspire a little bit. We'll start off with some positives. But before all of that, before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky. And if you want to donate to the podcast, you can do so at rivercity93.com. We got some listener questions as well, so I want to make sure to answer those. But Matt, let's go ahead. Let's talk about this game and get this over with, because it was a game of hope, but it was also a game of, like, guys, why?
Yeah, but I think there are a lot of good things that came out of it, and things that if you are a glass half full kind of person, that can really propel you forward
Yeah,
into the coming weeks. Like first and foremost, Elliot, after all these years of you waiting and hoping,
I know. I got
it happened.
it did. The
It
prodigal
happened.
son has scored.
Oh, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I
What
was
happened?
talking about 3/5 in the
Oh,
back.
yeah. Oh, that too. Yeah, we finally got it. It wasn't the full committal that I wanted, but it was a three in the back. There were times where they would kind of shift back into this weird makeshift four in the back. It is just old habits die hard, but it was. It finally happened. And Matt, I will have to say, for the first half, the Kickers were a better team. It felt like
Absolutely.
we were going to get over the hump.
Yeah, I mean, I think the shift, in shape. So essentially, what Darren did, and he had been hinting about this. If you listen to a couple of the shows we had done with him, that there was going to be a time when we were going to see things get mixed up. He never gave away when that was going to be, to his credit. Although thinking back, maybe we should have put two and two together that it was going to be this one. Seeing how much he had also talked about, we're going to be ready for them, and
Yeah,
they came out ready for them. You had Lodge, kind of in the middle, and then Chella and Griffin on either side. Simon and Mackey was sort of playing the left wing back slash wherever the hell he felt like at any point in the game. Uh, but you'd see Griffin and Chella pull really wide, at
yeah,
times, especially in possession, and you see Dak drop a little bit deeper in those moments, and it really was, working well. Like, I think the Kickers controlled the majority of play. And it doesn't necessarily mean possession, but the tone of the game, throughout the entire
yeah.
first half. Like, there's never a moment in that first 45 minutes where I thought Naples had any reasonable chance to score.
No, and I think that's the most important thing. Like, they control the tone of the game. It's not about dominating possession. It's not about having the lack of possession, right? I think about it in terms of, like, are the Kickers out there throwing the haymakers, and are they landing them, and are they, like we just said, like, setting the tone? And they did that. Like, they frustrated FC Naples. They were able to go long, stretch and wide. Like, if you even go look at the first goal, leading up to the first goal, Landon Johnson was on an island, and he was
Mhm.
giving FC Naples backline problems. You know why? Because Kickers were being decisive, direct, and demanding. Like, and over again, they will get the ball, play it out wide to Landon, or play it over the top to Josh Kirkland. Kirkland would win the knockdown, or Landon would be able to get one-on-one space. And he was going at them, and it was causing
Mhm.
so many problems for FC Naples.
Yeah, absolutely. That other adjustment that came from you putting the extra defender in there was,
Mhm.
you didn't necessarily play with the same center forward, kind of position that we've seen, for years and years and years. We were playing, two up top, Landon and Kirkland, and they were, Landon nominally on the left side, Kirkland, right, kind of the right center channel, over there. And what the thing that both of them have, and the Kickers were really able, to positively exploit was pace. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times, this team gets, bogged down into, making, the, passes, some of the, touches around in the midfield, and it can be a nice show of skill, but how many times have we talked about these guys are slow sometimes? Those
And
two
you
guys,
caught out.
and they
Sounds
were.
like the second half.
We'll get there, uh, but they were able to, extend the Naples defense, which I think opened up a little bit more space for Chandler, for Bear, for Maxi, for Simon, kind of, filling in, some of those, gaps, and
Yeah.
it made the possession, I think, work a little bit better too. Like, no, you're not going to, chase down every single long ball, but having that threat and being able to showcase that, hey, we're going to be able to get on, the end of, a number of these. You got to play us honest on this, and it's not even, talking about the goal yet, but even before that, Kirkland got in behind, a few times out wide, and he was able to, create some tense moments, for the Naples defense. And I think that's the dynamic that really this team hadn't seen, in a good while, like having two speed threats up
Yeah.
top. Like, yeah, you might be able to isolate one or the other. Like, we've had, uh, you know, Owain, doing it, for a little bit. Like, Bullock's got a little bit of that left. It's not like he was, in his really young days when he was a, real speedster. Uh, even Melvin and his little, cameos, you see little bits and pieces of it, but two guys, just kind of almost running, north south a lot of the times made a
Mhm.
world of difference.
Yeah. I mean, it was an impressive. This is probably the Kickers' best first half in a long time. And I mean, well, I take that back. Their best first half since Union Omaha, but like
I mean, I felt like it was
cumulatively,
better soccer than the Union Omaha.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
honestly,
they scored 3 in the Omaha game, but a lot of that was Omaha, like kicking themselves in the dick,
that's true.
right?
Yeah, like this just felt like you're right. Like it just felt like better soccer. It felt like Richmond going with this game plan. It felt like it was working very well. And I mean, also like Dak talked about this as well. Like, and I think this might have the reason why we might have saw some of the issues pop up in the second half with the new formation, like little issues start to pop up. So you're trying to figure out, like, all right, how do I solve this? How do I solve it? Because the thing about the 3-5-2 is like, yeah, you have it's very narrow and direct, right? Because you have the line of three, then you have a midfield of three, and then two forwards. So you really bear out on the wings. So if a team overloads on the wings, you're kind of like, all right, cool, we can give that up and maybe be able to live with it. I think in the first half, Richmond did such a great job of noticing when they were starting to get overloaded, win the ball back, and then play it over the top and kind of alleviate that pressure. They might not always be able to do something with it, but they were able to alleviate that pressure. And honestly, like that's also where the goal from Landon comes from because there's a little bit of pressure. I forgot who plays the ball out to Landon, but Landon,
It's
which
Griffin.
by the way, he literally put his man in a spin cycle, and it reminded me of AI. Like just like if you go back and watch like prime AI, like 2000, 2001, 2002 crossovers, that's what it felt like.
You want to very self-loathing statement right now?
What?
Landon probably never really saw AI play.
Probably never. Probably did not. But that's what it reminded me
Sure, not good version. Like, I'm not talking like Nuggets Iverson.
of. Nah, he probably has that seen the prime AI. I'm trying to think who I can person. Maybe like Kyrie. I'm pretty sure he's seen Kyrie, right? With the handles and stuff. But back to the point I was making, like the way how he was able to get it behind and just the composure. And this is the reason why I'm being so hype about this is because one, what Landon has been through probably the past 2 years of like just kind of being a spark plug during the 2023 season that was obviously that good, but he got his first assist. 2024, we thought he was going to make the jump and keep developing, but there was inconsistencies in his development and getting injured and stuff like that. And then this year, he really wasn't a part of the team for the first couple of games, and now he's on the fact for injury. I would say like he's really is the player I can think of that in a spot there where someone got injured from, he's taking it and took it by the reins.
Yeah, he's really stepped up the last month or so, I
Yeah.
would say, and yeah, it's nice to see him kind of get his reward for that. Uh, Still plenty of room for him to grow, obviously, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think his directness and uh, we mentioned it either last week or the week before. Like he's willing to look for his own shot,
Yeah.
sometimes, and for better or worse, we got a lot of guys who look for the pass, and you need some greedy guys sometimes, and yeah, some good fortune on the goal with the deflection, but that deflection doesn't happen if he's not trying to go directly to goal and line up his shot. Like good,
Yeah.
you know, I've talked about this plenty of times. I'm a big believer that you create your own luck, and if you put yourself in good situations, good luck is going to find your way eventually. And if you put yourself in a bad situation, bad luck's going to find your way,
Hmm.
right? And
Right.
he spun whichever big lug that was, for Naples, and then he had essentially one on one, lined up with I think it was Dingler, right?
I think
And
so. Yeah.
and it he could have tried to thread a pass to Kirkland, who was running along with him, but I'm pretty sure that was meant he had to be a shot. He was trying to curl it far post.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you get a fortune deflection. Leaves Delgado falling the wrong way and goes kind of harmlessly into the net. Yeah. Was it the way he drew it up? No. Does it count the same? Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And it doesn't happen if you don't give it a go.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, and also like I was able to capture on camera, but I was a little bit too far zoomed out. But like Delgado committed way early. Like about Delgado just automatically fell to his knees once Landon was one on one with him. And granted, like a lot of guys either miss that shot, go straight to the goalkeeper, or overthink it. Landon seemed very decisive, like very decisive in that. And it was also cool, like to be able to score your first pro goal with your family there. Because I don't know if you
Mhm.
saw it or not, but his brother Ty is back. He's actually gonna be at VCU in the fall. He had 2 years left of eligibility. He can play with VCU Rams and be able to score like with your family there and everything he's been through, man. It's just big ups to him, and like it really showed what is on the upside from him, like, what he can do and what he can bring to a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think had a lot of times this year where they had that man of the match bit that they put on the big screen and on the Instagram graphics, and I'm like, what? Like they nailed it this time. It was
Yeah,
Landon.
yeah, honestly, it was, man. And he played, he did his role. Now, unfortunately, soccer is a game of two halves, and Matt, the second half, I leave truly confused and like, okay, so I'm explaining my feelings. So after the two goals, I just felt like, all right, that's it. That's game. Like I didn't have the energy mustered up to like really like all right, we can get back into this. And I mean, there was a chance off the crossbar and at the end of the game, end of the game, but it
Well,
was just
I mean,
like we
it's
had
learned
this.
behavior, right? Like you've
Yeah,
started to become conditioned to okay, this team gets punched in the stomach, and especially the last couple months, they don't respond well,
yeah.
to it, right? Uh, Earlier in the year, yeah, they get in, those Greenville and Westchester, absolute barn burner of games, and throw haymakers back and forth. We haven't seen that team in a few months, now. Now
Mhm.
it's something goes wrong, and it's like we're watching reruns of the second half of 2023 a lot of times, and especially this game. Like you go back listen to those podcasts from 2023, you're going to hear the same story over and over. The first half they looked pretty good, you know, it might have something going here, and then second half the bottom falls out.
Yeah.
kind of the same vibe here. So I don't blame you for thinking that way because you've been conditioned by the play of the team over the last couple of months to
Yeah.
think that and to expect that.
And I think the other reason why I'm frustrated mainly is just because when I go back and looking at this game, you look at how the Kickers ended the first half, right? Naples had no shots on target. They had 5 shots, no shots on target, nothing. Like, this is one of the games where I felt like the defense and the team were protecting James Net, right? They weren't
Mhm.
letting dangerous shots just be peppered at James or leaving him on the island and having him try to figure it out. I don't care how good of a goalkeeper you are. When you're left one-on-one with an attacker, 9 times out of 10, the attacker is going to score. Like, you're waiting for the attacker to make a mistake, not you. And going into the second half, now there was a lot of conversation based on the bench of players who were returning. You
Yeah.
saw Niels on the bench, Darwin, Bill Hart. Unfortunately, Maddie's in a walking boot. Maddie said he's going to be back in 5 weeks. Maddie, please wrap yourself in bubble wrap. We sir, you're a legend. But yeah, and also Emmy as well. So it felt as if okay, if things go awry, I can pull these chips, especially being up 1-0 going into the second half. I don't have to pull them yet. It's not and this is just me, right? From watching this game, seeing it in person, I didn't feel like the Kickers, there was an immediate change the Kickers needed to do. There wasn't any indication that Naples is getting back into the game. Naples is, figuring this out. Naples was frustrated. They had no shots on target. They were losing various 1v1 battles. They hated the fact that we were getting in behind them. They hated the fact that, we were putting them on islands. And then you come out in the second half, and it's like, well, substitute Landon Johnson for Darwin Espinal. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Why make this sub? And look, I'm not there in practice, but this just felt like a sub for the sake of a sub's sake. And talking to Darren in the post-game show, it seemed like this was a sub that was made because they're trying to get, I guess, manufacture getting Darwin and others up to speed because they missed so much time, which I'm cool with, right? But, and this is just me thinking, if that's Darwin who scores, or let's say that's Kirkland who scores, right? And Emmy's coming back from injury. I highly doubt he's taking off Kirkland to put Emmy on for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a scripted substitution. Like even from Darren's answer to you, it sounded like going into the game they had already decided Darwin's coming out at halftime, like blind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's weird because I think everybody's excited that Darwin's back and available again because I think right now there's only 2 viable candidates right now for team MVP this year, and he's one of them. Uh, so having him back in a vacuum, obviously a net positive.
yeah.
And yet it found a way you make me think I don't want to see him right now.
Yeah, no.
Right? It's like you had something good, you had something that was working, and yes, I understand you want to get him up to speed, but part of it is understand the game state. Like, okay, maybe the same thing happens, and because credit to Naples, they obviously made some adjustments at halftime too, and
Yeah.
you changed the stuff up. But you take the guy out that's been causing a lot of problems, for Darwin, who's he's a different kind of player, and he's I think it's probably safe to say overall probably a better, more well-rounded player than Landon right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But Landon, was on his game, tonight,
Yeah.
and I think you got to, especially if you're in a culture of wanting to be able to encourage young players to come in and show out, you got to reward that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Landon falls flat on his face for the first 10 minutes of the second half, make the sub, fine.
Or if FC Naples, like you said, if they change their game plan and they're like, all right, we're not going to give them the space in behind. We're going to sit a little bit deeper and we're going to force them to work the
Yeah,
ball up.
go for it
Okay,
then.
10, 15 minutes. I understand making that sub there. I don't understand making that sub at halftime because of this reason. You are bringing back a player from injury that one likes the ball at his feet, right? He is explosive, but he is a outside end player, right? Very different from Landon, who is very much vertical. The thing about making that sub there is that now you're telling FC Naples, okay, we're going to play everything on the ground now. It's going to be a lot more ball on the ground trying to play through you. I would just rather, and look, it's hindsight 2020, but I would rather see that game plan around the 60th, 70th minute when you're trying to kill off the game versus right after halftime where you still have 45 minutes left to go. Like you still have a large chunk of this game left to go.
Mhm.
And let's just see. Like you got 10, 15 minutes, you have momentum on the side. You're frustrating them. And honestly, like both goals, well, not the second one. The first one came from you guys playing around in the back or trying to have some kind of
Hale's
build
oldest
up.
sign this year, isn't it?
Yeah, like try to have some kind of build up, lose the ball, and now you get stuck in a 1v1 situation and you put Sneddon in a bad place and he gets scored on. And it's like, it's self-inflicted moments. Or like you said, Matt, earlier, like you set the tone in the first half, and then you reset the tone to make it even with FC Naples and gave them a chance.
Yeah, and right from the start of the second half, yeah, I think the Kickers might have had like one decent chance early on, but otherwise, that first 20 minutes of the second half was just all Naples, pretty
Yeah,
much.
because and this is the thing too, like you're bringing in a player from injury, and granted, practice minutes ain't the same as game minutes, right? But there's a figuring out period. Like, because that player is trying to figure out, okay, I've been out for X amount of time. Can I still do this? Can I still do that? And if he's supposed to be the key cog of your game plan, I just think like that isn't smart coach. That isn't smart coaching.
Yeah, and here's the other thing: like, if we had the game weeks flipped and from last week to this week, and this
Mhm.
is a Jaeger game, fine, make the scheduled sub or something because that game was a dead rubber anyway.
Yeah,
For us, it didn't mean
yeah,
anything. This one, like, we know the team has been struggling a lot lately.
yeah,
We know, that the frustration is mounting in the stands, online. Like, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. You just have to have eyes and ears,
yeah,
right? You've got a lead right then. Play to win the game, not necessarily play to win the game that's happening in 2 weeks.
yeah. Like finish this game out strong. And look, I can if this game ends in a draw, right? Okay, far be it. It's just frustrating the way how he gave it the game because it's been happening to the Kickers. You go back and look at the Chattanooga game. You go back and look at the Greenville game. Like it's compounding goals. You gave up a PK that one I don't think is a PK from what
Uh,
I saw it. Did it seem like what it looked like? It just looked like Chandler just extended his arm and both of them are falling backwards.
oh, no,
Did
it
I
definitely
read
hit
it?
his hand when he did that. I think the argument you can make is it's him and the little wrestling match that he and Dingler were in. That uh, did he kind of get moved into throwing his arm up there? But I get why it was called.
Okay. Well, to my surprise, for the first time in Darren's history, that and also since I think I've been covering the scene, somebody has missed a PK in regular time. So as far as I remember, it wasn't a save. I haven't seen a save yet, but it was a miss. It was a bad miss.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what that guy gets for uh, massive pet peeve. Penalty takers who do the run up the setters have to all but stop. Like no, just go up there, just lace the ball in the net.
yeah.
Enough of
My
the
thing
dancing
is,
around stuff.
yeah, my rule has always been if you're gonna allow penalty kick takers to do that stutter step, you gotta allow goalkeepers to come off that line. Like make it even. But that's besides the point. Yeah. So it felt like there was a surge momentum. Like, okay, like in that moment, it felt like the Kickers had momentum on their side because you just see the PK misses 1-1. We get up to the other side of the field. There's a shot save by Delgado or whatever, and the ball goes out of bounds. So the Kickers have a PK. Have a corner kick. And my God, it was like happening in slow motion because I can't exactly remember who the player is, but it was a Kickers player.
The keyword there, slow.
It just got beat. I think he just made a bad run at it. Got beat, and it was like 3-on-1. And you're hoping and praying that the guy is offsides, like he runs a little bit ahead of the ball. He wasn't. He was totally on. And just slots it in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, Maxey was left. We've talked about islands a lot today. Maxey was left on the biggest or smallest, depending which way you want to look at it, island. Yeah, there was basically a 401 jailbreak coming off of a corner, and he decided to all right, let me try to play the ball. Two guys just busting straight down the middle of the field. Easy pass. Henderlong. Henderlong's a big guy. He's not a speedster. Necessarily. Like most of his goals are one touch in the box. Free breakaway with the ball from like 35 yards out. And the thing that really bothered me, well, okay, they're like all of it really bothered me. Let's be real here. Watching back the replay more times than I cared to. Even then, you only saw like what 3 or 4 kickers in the tracking back in the frame. Like you saw Bear get back there, you saw Darwin trying to chase him down, and you saw big ass Marcelo Lage there trying to get back. What's going on with the rest of these guys?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it was recognized or understand in the moment, or you just like, or like your body, like your, how can I say this? Your body's not reacting to it. Like your mind is reacting to it. Your body's just not.
Yeah,
but I don't know, man. Like I don't.
Like they just got straight up beat in a 100-yard dashes. That's all that was. That was track meet, and they all.
And I get it. Like this is a thing that Darren does on. I realized this on corner kicks. Like, it's the equivalent of playing zero blitz. Because Darren puts so many players into the box, there's usually only one player back on the halfway line. So you're like, okay, you're hoping that the ball gets in the box and it carries some kind of scrum where you're that one person who was supposed to be quote unquote think like a safety doesn't get caught on the island. It happens to happen on this one play. And Darren would probably argue like we probably need to do a better job at like cleaning up the ball before it leaves the 18-yard box. All right. I would just say you don't always have to go zero blitz. Like sometimes it's okay to play cover 2, play cover 3, leave some guys back there because just of the momentum of the game, right? Like you want to use the momentum on your side and try to go score. But I also think like if it doesn't happen right within those first 2 or 3 minutes, like it's okay to slow the game down. Like you brought on Niels, Darwin, and Bill Hart. I think before they scored, right? Before they scored the second goal or somewhere around there.
I think it was after.
Okay, after. But like this is the thing that Darren was saying about how he brought on those players that it was kind of, and even Dak, like they wanted to be able to control the ball and work through it that way, right? And have more of the ball, more of the possession. I've already said I don't understand it, but I'm not a head coach. If that is what you are trying to do, isn't that I think this might be one of those moments where Darren will look back at it and say, all right, this is a moment where we might need to control the ball a little bit better. Not just have one man back there, maybe have 3 or 4. So that way, if there is a jailbreak, we can either A, slow it down or B, eliminate it.
Yeah. And the other thing that, not another or the other, just another thing that bothers me about this. Okay, this happens like 94th minute, chasing the, go fine, whatever. right? We're down two like that. The one that same one where Kalidi hits the crossbar late.
Yeah,
If this happened again at that point, I wouldn't care because what's the difference between 2-1 and 3-1 at that stage? But it's 1-1. You got to play the situation. You got to know you know what's going on, and there's times to be risk averse. This is one of them. I think, but also this isn't the first time this has happened to these guys.
yeah,
Right? I mean, the most obvious one is Omaha in the playoffs last year. Where okay, almost scored twice off a corner, and then 10 seconds later, you know, they jailbreak and it's in the net, right?
yeah,
So it's these patterns of things that happen time and time again, that make me question what's going on here because it's not like it's a brand new team since then. It's a lot of
right.
the same guys. So how were these things worked on? Were they they're clearly not corrected?
Yeah, no. Or is it's taking one thing and then disregarding the other part of it. Like I just said, like on corners, like you're putting so many players into the box that you're like, all right, we can create a scrum, we can slow down the ball, but then you're disregarding having people back in the case of a breakthrough because you have Marcelo Laws, you have Chandler Jordan, people that can score headers. You're hoping on that coming through more so less than putting players back there and being like, all right, if we're gonna get beat, we're not the quickest team. I'd rather only have one back there than three. I don't know. I think the other thing too about the second half, and this is no disrespect to Guy Franca, but I don't understand why taking off Marcelo Lodge
Yeah,
because
unless his fitness was just had him shot, I don't get it either. It just seemed
yeah,
to be like a change for the sake of a change.
yeah, because he was winning you headers, he was being dominant, and it's not like Guy Franca came on and played like auxiliary striker like Nathan Ani used to do. He just played center back.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the other common complaint that we've had of a lot of times subs are just straight up one for one type subs. Like changed a little bit when Emmy came on,
Yeah.
not just because Emmy can't play any of the positions that we were starting the game with. But yeah, Guy came in. They just moved Griffin in the middle, and Guy was playing kind of that wide left center back position. And I don't think he did anything necessarily wrong during the game. Like gave up a couple fouls, but big deal. Who cares? There, but yeah, like later on, in the game, like those last 10 minutes, especially those last 5 minutes or so. Yeah, we were pinging the ball around all right, but you know who was up top when we were swinging crosses? It was Darwin,
Mhm.
Emmy, Niels. Uh, who else is still in there at that point? Maxi, I think,
Yeah.
was up there. Who's hanging back? Deep. Gee, Griffin, Chella, Simon, Dak.
Yeah, I mean,
Feels a little reverse than what you might
yeah.
otherwise want to be like. Drop Bill Hart a little bit deeper. Let him serve some stuff from further back. You don't have to move all the big guys up top, but at least throw a target or somebody up there.
Yeah. And I mean, in the postgame show, we heard Darren's assignment as he's made it. No, even Dak. Like the first half of the scene was really good. The last, I wouldn't say 25 minutes. I'll probably say like last 15, 10 was okay. But my issue is there is a whole still 45 to 35-minute period where you guys got outplayed and lost the game because of it's not what FC Naples did, it's what we did. And that's the frustrating part. We
Yeah,
were complicit in our own loss where we didn't have to be.
yeah, it's the song of the season, right?
Yeah.
How many different times have we said basically that same phrase over and over again? It's like, okay, Louisville beats us because they just have so many better players. We're not cool with it, but we get it. We understand that.
Right.
All these league games where we're finding new and creative ways to you know give the ball away and tee up an easy goal. It gets frustrating. Like if this team was just like flat out bad, that'd be one thing. I mean, it would still suck,
Yeah,
but in in a weird twisted way, it would be a little bit easier to accept.
yeah.
But
Yeah, if
we've
this was
seen,
like 2018, 2017 even, we would
yeah,
be like, "All right, cool. You know what? It is what it is." But yeah,
yeah,
I don't
they
know.
don't get out of their own way.
Yeah, and I mean, also looking at it, like I'm just I'm at that point now where you can't you can't begrudge fans for being upset at this, right? Any logical fan or any logical business will look at this and be like, this isn't good enough. You haven't had a home win since April 9th. You only had 2 shots on target, maybe the most in a month. Granted, you scored, and that's great, but it's the self-inflicted errors. It's the what fans are feeling like is the lack of accountability. Because Matt, let me ask you this: like any other soccer coach in any other league that went on this kind of run, like it would be a pressure cooker right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think American sports are a little different and unique in that
Yeah,
way. 'Cause, I mean, you go to other countries like like Brazil or some of these places where you lose like 2 games in a row, they fire you, and then you're back 3 coaches later that same season again, and
yeah,
it,
that's insane.
yeah, there's some places that it's a little wacky. Uh, but yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with it. Like realistically, we know that with the you know financials of the club, there's almost certainly not a world where a change is being made mid-season
Yeah,
just because they're not going to pay 2 guys to do the same job at the same time.
no,
So like yeah, we hear some of the stuff about that. Like I just get that out of your mind right now because not
yeah, it's
happening.
not happening.
Uh, but I think it's perfectly fair game to be frustrated. And yeah, if I'm the front office, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as a necessary evil, to what's going
Yeah,
on right now. Because it's worse than people being pissed off? Apathy.
yeah, people not caring, like
Yeah, people not caring and then not showing up anymore.
right, because like we could also be in a situation where we could be Tormenta, right? Another team who's been around as long as we have, and
They've not been around as long as
with
we have.
barely 500 fans there, right? And it's just fans. And I will defend this to the end. Fans that I've talked to, casuals, Red Army, whatever, they're not upset at the way how they're not upset at the youth approach. They're not upset at that. What they're upset about is the gaslighting of being told, "Oh, it's a plan. It's going to work out. You just need to chill out." Like that's the frustrating part because watching this and watching the trends, you're like, I see it's not going right. I see something's wrong, but it's almost like you're in a fire and you're yelling fire, and everyone's telling you it's like, it's just a little smoke. Don't worry about it. And it's like, no, like there's a legit fire. Like we got to find a way how to put this out. You know, because like Matt, like you always say, like I don't want this team to be celebrating making it into the playoffs by going on like a 6 game winning streak.
I would take that 6 game winning streak. Let's be perfectly clear about this.
I mean, yes, I would. I would 1000% take a 6 game winning streak. But like, we shouldn't have to have a 6 game winning streak where and just forget about 3 months of the season as if it didn't happen. Because I think like that is an important part of the season, right? Like, and once again, like I have against my better judgment and against others, like I've said, this team has been battling injuries, and Darren has been trying to plug holes with putty on a ship, and he just doesn't have enough putty. right? Sometimes tactics just can't outcoach talent, right? But and this is the frustrating thing is your tactics can help you win games you're not supposed to win when you are flexible enough to understand, like, hey, this moment I need to have this, and this moment I need to have this, not just having a strict plan and adhering to that no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the bad news here is that there's not going to be any singular silver bullet,
No,
to any of this. Like, okay, maybe there's some world out there where if there's a different coach, you get the new coach bump. Uh, but part of this is also if some of the other teams have better players than us, right? And nothing you can do about that midseason.
no. And the Kickers had to, got to find a way how to get out of this losing streak, and the good thing about the season is there's always another game on the horizon, and also the Kickers are healthy. Like,
Yeah,
I think there is some validity in what Darren was saying about, this is the first time we've seen Darwin, Emmy, Niels, and Bill Hart all on the field at the same time. Those four. That is the first time we've seen that. And I think there is some excitement in that.
yeah.
It-
The brutal irony out of all this being that it comes right as we found for at least 45 minutes was a really exciting solution to those exact positions.
yeah, for real. For real, man. And this is the other thing too about it. Like, this team has a rough week coming up where they go on the road to Portland, which, by the way, we got 20, 30 Kickers fans and Red Army going up there. Matt, you're going up there as well, so you guys be safe.
Yes, sir.
Wednesday, we got one Knox in a retake of the game that only lasted 20 minutes. And then we have a home game against South Georgia Torment. There is the possibility of 9 points, and in this league, if you win 2 games back to back, it changes everything, right? We go from almost near the bottom of the table to right on the cusp of a playoff line by Saturday night, right? My hope is that with the players that we have coming back, with this new formation, people are able to settle in. Darwin, Niels, and Bill Hart are able to knock off the rust quicker than was projected. And the Kickers can shock some people and get back into this playoff race.
Yeah, I think it also quality depth in the attack. Something to be said for that. I would say I would hope that 2 of those games are not considered shocks if they get something positive out of there. Like, yeah, Portland's ahead of us in the standings right now. That shouldn't be a shock if we're able to get something off them. It should
Yeah.
never be a shock if we get points off Tormenta. They're Tormenta.
Did you see Pat's
Yes.
goal? I'm like, that is the most tormented thing ever. And the thing is, that goal only happens for Tormenta in front of 500 people. Imagine if Pablo or Sneddon scores that goal at City Stadium. There would be a riot.
But I also hope that never has to happen because I'd rather not be losing at that stage anymore at home.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, there are points to be taken.
Yeah.
Out of this, upcoming week, like Knoxville, they're pretty solid. Back to the scene of the crime where Darwin got hurt. The goal got hurt. Not a lot went right. Like Gee scored, but I still don't know how he passed a concussion test after that. So hopefully, they'll be ready for nice 3 games in a week stretch. Couldn't be a better time to get actual bodies back if nothing else. Like
Yeah.
maybe you get a little bit of a rotation. Niels works his way into maybe by the Tormenta game being able to start with a couple of spot moments. Maybe you get Darwin one of those games and keep him as a sub elsewhere. Same thing with Bill Hart. Like I don't think you need to have all of them in there simultaneously. In part because I think they kind of start to think they get in each other's way when all of them are on the field together. Like I think you need a Kirkland or at this point a Landon to be able to provide something a little different with that group. But better problems to have than the ones they've been working with in the attack.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and look, the best thing about playing multiple games in a week is that you got another game coming up. There's not going to be a lot of training, so hopefully, also with the added depth, guys are ready and able to go, and hopefully there's long minutes. We won't record again till next Monday, so we'll have a lot to talk about then.
Well, it'll just be after the Portland game, so we'll have.
Oh, waffle, yeah, Portland. Sorry, yeah, we'll be back for the Portland game. Yeah, man, just hopefully they're. It just, as I always say, man, as a fan, it is okay to be frustrated because that means you care. And as long as you keep, to me, as long as you keep the criticism in between those four white lines, what happens on that field is fair game to be criticized. And I think it's a disservice to tell fans that their critiquing what's happening on the field is unfair and judging them on that as supporters. This isn't blind loyalty. It's not a cult. These people pay their hard-earned money to go out there and support it. This is Richmond, Virginia, third division soccer. They could be out here doing 100 other things, right? But they are taking their time to go to these games, watch these matches, support these players, support you, support this front office, support this team. Like players come and go, coaches come and go, but this club, this team will be there, we hope, for another 30, 60, 90 years. And you guys right now, the people who have the privilege and honor of wearing that shirt and with that club badge on it, it is not yours. It is you are a holder. You are a steward of this club. Right? This club is passing through you. And you have to embed yourself into this community. Yes, you guys have done amazing things and made this club sustain for a long time. And no one's begrudging you guys of that. But you cannot, and I will not accept it when you tell fans they have to support the club a certain way when the results on the field have been unacceptable. When you haven't gave fans something to cheer about in 2.5 months since April 9th at home. That's unacceptable. We're not talking about a 2-game losing streak or a 3-game losing streak, or, we've had sustained success like Union Omaha and seeing their supporters flip out over having one bad stretch. We're not talking about that. We're talking about compounded frustration over the course of 2.5 years. And even through that, you are still pulling 4.3 in the midst of a losing streak, in the midst of not winning a whole game since April 9th. It is unacceptable to say that you got to pick and choose. You pick and choose who the supporters are. That's unacceptable to me. My fault, man. I didn't mean to go on a tangent there.
Well, let it go. Let it loose. I mean, yeah. I think that the other side of this is, I said it earlier. If you are somebody who wants to look for the brighter side of things, we saw a really good first half. We
100%.
saw key guys come back. There's reasons where you can be able to put the pieces together and be able to see, all right, this can turn around. And like I said, at least 2 of the games this upcoming week are games where you can easily be able to see why it would turn around, because it's not necessarily the strongest competition. Knoxville, that might be a challenge to fully admit that, but also this team's never lost to Knoxville. Like and they've only been around for the bad years. It's not even like that's a padded stat from the good time,
No.
right? So you know, if you are still in that mindset, if you want to find that mindset, that's your your roadmap, to being able to bring it a positive outlook to this team moving forward.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think that's a good thing to leave out on. Like there is, like I said, man, regardless of it, there is always another game coming. And until there is not another game coming, we are going to keep doing these shows. We're going to keep giving you the good, the bad, the ugly, and
Yeah.
everything in between.
You said we had some listener questions.
I thought I did, but I think we covered all of them already at the midst of us
Okay.
talking. A lot of them, like one was about like, Darren's job security. Another one was about the players coming back their rustiness, and I think another one was about what was the thinking behind subbing out Landon at halftime. So I think we covered all of them. Sorry we
Fair
didn't
enough.
address
Then
it that
okay.
way as listener questions. But once again, if you have any listener questions, please send them our way. We will love to talk about them. Love it, even if we don't address it directly, we end up talking about it anyway.
And the more ridiculous, the better, actually.
Yeah, honestly, that too. Oh, you know what? We did get one from now that you mention it, we did get one from Banana. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Where is it? Oh, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it. Looking in the Discord. Here we go. Okay. He wants to know. I don't want to. Well, too bad. We already talked about the game. But he wants to know. Tell me some stories about some Kickers heroes that brought you guys smiles in the glory days.
Ooh. All right. So I don't know if it's more about like team as a whole. So I guess I think it was 2006.
Mhm.
Yeah. So team had just dropped down to what was then called USL 2, which is the modern day what USL 1 would be.
Yeah.
So kept a lot of guys from the team that had lost in penalties the year before in the final of USL 1 to Seattle. Uh, so they kind of blitzed the league, pretty well. It was kind of cool, just kind of running through everybody with guys who were probably too good for that league.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, get to the final and beat Charlotte in the final, cool. But back in the day, like there's always the post game stuff going on. You used to be at Mulligan's way back in the day when it was over on Main Street. I think that year was at I don't know that can't remember the name of that little place like Italian place over by VCU that pizza place there.
I
It's
think
like
I know what you're talking about.
it's not far from the library. I know that.
Okay.
Uh, it's like the post game celebration after the finals going on there. So they got the trophy there and everything. And I mean it's not the nicest looking trophy of all time, but your good old classic wood base and it has a big cup
Oh yeah.
on top of it. So you know what else you're going to do in celebration, but fill it up with drinks and then take drinks from it. But just being able to be there and like the players like passing it around to fans to be able to take swigs out of that and everything. That was cool. That was
Oh
fun.
yeah. That was that. Oh man, that sounds dope. Um, I mean, to me, I I will always refer to him as the eternal captain of the Richmond Kickers. Is the one and only William Yambi. Like he was. If you never get a chance to meet Yambi, man, I will always hold anyone who is a captain of the Richmond Kickers to his standard. Just for like not even on the field, but just off the field. Like he didn't make you feel when just talking to you, he didn't make you feel as if like it was awkward. Like every conversation with him was like, oh, this is like a real open, cool guy, right? And he just cared a lot about fans and whatnot, but also like on the field, man. I got to see him really before he retired, so that was real cool. Sasha Gores is another one. I just always remember. I can never tell you what Sasha did on the field. I just always remember him running over the section O and doing like the fist pump after games. That was pretty cool. And I say the other one was another hero. Oh, well, I mean, he's my hero, Luke Pavone, just because of that 2020 season where, I mean, he didn't score a goal, but by God, that man ran his ass off for that team. Like, he gave everything. You got another hero?
Yeah, mine are more like communal sort of things than like any one individual.
Yeah.
It might also be that time has passed and some of the details have gotten a little hazy over the years.
Yeah.
So this must have been like 2004 or 2005, somewhere around then.
Yeah.
So they're on an away trip to Rochester, and I think they probably played Syracuse the day before, just because they usually did back to backs, back in those days. So it'd be like a Friday Saturday deal. So my parents grew up in upstate New York, so you know I would make it work when I was up there, especially once I had a car.
Yeah.
So did a double dip. But we get up to Rochester, and I think I did this one solo just because it was college. What else am I going to do?
Yeah.
During the summertime then, and so get to Rochester. And I think it must have been like anticipated bad weather or something because I get to the stadium and the Kickers are pulling up in the Kickermobile. So back in the day, they had like a big ass, essentially tour bus that they
Yeah.
would use to travel to all the away games. Had a full sleeper bus, everything. You had old school early 2000s direct TV in it, like whole 9 yards. So like you knew when the team was around because you couldn't miss the thing. So on there, I think I got to the stadium, way too early. One because that's younger days. What I did would be probably just mistimed how long it would take to get places.
Yeah.
Uh, so like Mike Burke, some of the other guys, like they all pretty much could recognize me by sight because there weren't as many of us back then. Uh, so they're like, "Oh, you're here early," like, and I can't remember who it was, but a couple were like, "I mean, if it's going to start raining. Like, do you just want to go in the bus and just like wait it out in there instead?" So, and I was like, I don't know. They're like, "No, it's cool. Like, just here, we'll go tell you, tell them it's okay." So yeah, just got to hang out in there for like half an hour or something
Oh,
because the guys were looking out in that regard, and like they didn't have to do that, and like I felt weird to take them up on it, but like that was kind of the culture way back in the day.
yeah. Yeah, but I remember, I think it might have been actually during the 2019 season. I remember they used to go to Tay and Biscuit after games. You would just like chill out and hang out with the players after games. Now they stopped that, I mean, after COVID and whatnot. But yeah, like that was even cool because I think like that even made the 2019 season bearable, given how things ended. It was like you just felt like you had a connection with the staff and with the players. Like you get to hang out with them, get to know them as people, not just as players or as staff. But you got to know them, right?
Hmm.
You didn't feel like there was this division or anything like that. I think what was another? What was another one? Oh, Bulow. Like I remember when Bulow came over to Section O when Harks was there, and did he? I think he brought beer or something to us.
Possible.
Possible, yeah. But like even like that was like really cool. Like, and maybe he was trying to buy some good grades with the Kickers because I think it was the middle of the 7-game losing streak when we didn't score a goal. But like even then, it was just something endearing. Like, hey guys, I'm not forgetting about the contributions you guys made. Like you guys are being here, things like that. So yeah, that would be cool. The other question we got was from Shadow of. So he said this last week, but I forgot to answer it this week. His question is he wants to know if Darren was forced to play, how many minutes would he be able to play in a game right now?
I'm probably not many. I mean, he's old at this point, so like, he's in good shape for I don't know. I'm 42, and so he's got to be in his early 50s or something. I would think
Yeah.
if I'm doing rough math, right, knowing that he was in MLS like early days, and I was in middle school when it started. So it's got to be somewhere in that range. Like in Darren's playing days, he had a motor on him. Like he was a pesky, like annoying runner type of player.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm sure playing in over 40 league and everything, he'd still be able to like technically be able to go with it. But I don't I have a feeling any more than 5 or so minutes, the body just probably isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I'll probably say like 5 minutes. And then them knees are yelling at my boy.
Yeah.
They are yelling at him. They're yelling at him. Yeah. Those are
Like
all the list of questions you got. What? Oh, my fault.
I'm trying to think of like who on the team I would most relate to the way I felt like Darren played. I feel like he was a better version like Hayden.
Okay. You don't think Bold because pesky runner and stuff like that? Maybe that's why Darren
Yeah.
loves Pat so much and looks at him like a sign like, yo, you were me when I played.
I mean, both could be a little fiery.
Yeah.
So maybe.
And look, if there's any player on this team who I can see being the next manager, being a manager of the Richmond Kickers down the line, is Matt. It wouldn't
Yeah,
shock me in like 20, 15 years. Matt Baldock is the next head coach of the Richmond Kickers.
we shall see.
We shall see. We shall see. All right, Matt. Anything else for you, my man, before we wrap up?
No, I mean, there's still 13 games left in the season. I think that's the key thing to remember here. So, there's time. There's less time each week, but there's time.
There's time. There's time. And look, if nothing else, we have fans traveling to Portland, to Madison, even down to Tormenta. Go enjoy it.
Nobody
Go
should do
have
that.
a good time. Huh?
Nobody should do that.
Speaking from personal experience. But hey, go have a great time. Go enjoy it. Remember, you are a real supporter at the end of the day. You pay your hard-earned money. As long as you keep it within those 4 lines, you're all good to go. And with all that being said, for Matt, myself, and the rest of the crew, you guys have a beautiful week. Remember, do something nice for someone else because you never know how you can help them out. And as always, we will holler at you guys next time. Be easy and be safe.